Running around Mondello. It's a real fantastic thrill for me. I spent my umpteen years driving sports cars, and to see them now here in Mondello, and let alone that around the Stevens Green, it's a great day.
And series chairman John Mangalezzi looked on proudly as some of his star drivers took the stage to answer questions from the Irish press. Rounds in the championship, it's Marco Zadra who has a 20-point advantage over Ben Collins and Werner Lutberger. The win at Donington bringing them back into contention, with fourth equal Hiroki Kato and John Nielsen ahead of Gunnar, Hillebrand and Jan Lammers in SR1. SR Roberto, but it's even closer here than in SR1, just 10 points between them, and the combination of Warren Carway and Martin O'Connell ahead of Sacamano, Tonetti, Monti and Nobili. The SR1 cars were mighty around the 2.3-mile track during qualifying. Pesca set the quickest time of the session with just 4 minutes remaining, and the BMS engineer Marco Gadola held their collective breaths. This would be the team's third pole of the year after Barcelona and Brno, and the team was just about to celebrate when and the black Racing for Holland car was on target for a very quick time. Of the session, with the Dutchman putting in a staggering time of 1 minute 30.993 seconds to grab top spot from the Italian team. After the disappointment of Donington, where the team led easily until a loose wheel saw them slip down to third place, the team was even hungrier to grasp that maiden win. The black S101 had proved to be the pace setter since switching to Goodyear tyres, and teammate Val Hillebrand was watching intently as Jan did his start. Chief Engineer Ian Foley communicated with his charge from the pit wall, and Jan passed the checkered flag to beat the Ferrari's time and make it another Japanese pole position. Jan still had a mathematical chance of taking the title, but only a victory here would do for he and teammate Val Hillebrand. At the end of qualifying, we spoke to Lammers about the pole position lap.
2 pole positions in 6 days, and a very exciting battle there with the Ferrari towards the end. He was quicker, then you were quicker. Great stuff.
It was really wonderful. I had a good time, and the car did exactly what we wanted it to do, including the changes between the 2 sets of tyres. We made a little change, and that was all for the better. So good engineering from Ian Foley, and the whole team did a fantastic job. Really nice.
It's a very tight track here, a very challenging one. How are you finding it so far?
Oh, I love every inch of the track, and you know, I've said it in the past. There are some places that could be a little bit safer, but I think the ease of the corners that are a little bit dangerous is leveling out the actually security. So I don't think the track is dangerous, and it should be a good battle tomorrow.
And this is how they will line up. Pole position then for Jan Lammers in the dome, alongside him Marco Zadra and Christian Pescatore. Kato and Nielsen's dome on the inside of row 2 alongside the Ascari, with Sam Hancock and Jean-Marc Gounon a subdued 5th ahead of Alex Caffey and Mario Bowley's Riley and Scott. The Calderari Brinner Zadra Ferrari is next up alongside the leading SR2 car of Martin O'Connell and Warren Carway, with the rest of the SR2 battle lining up behind. The Deborah will start at the back of the grid in the hands of Mark Rostin as the drivers get ready now for race day. Jan Lammers standing on the grid. The rest of the pit crew standing nearby, the fans mingling with the stars as the gridside promenade takes place. The spectators friendly and enthusiastic as they're about to witness big sports car racing on Irish soil for the first time since the 1930s, where the likes of Tazio Nuvolari and Rudy Caracciola raced around the historic street race circuit at Ards. The cars setting off then now on the formation. FIA Sportscar Championship. The race bound to be just as close as qualifying that saw the first 4 on the grid covered by just 9/10 of a second, and the circuit damp but drying, everybody except the Ascari on slicks for the start. The Ian Dawson-led team has opted for intermediate. Now whether that's going to be the right choice we'll find out as the race goes on. The pace car then about to peel off into the pit lane, and the first ever international sports car race at Mondello Park about to get underway. Jan Lammers leading them round, then the last corner beckons. He'll straighten the car up in a moment and floor the throttle. Round 7 of the FIA Sportscar Championship at Mondello Park is go now. The cars make their way up towards the line. The green flag will fly, the green lights go on, and Jan Lammers charges down towards the first corner. A very narrow circuit. Overtaking here is not going to be that easy, and it's Lammers just in the lead ahead of Pescatori in second place. Third, John Nielsen. Then Ben Collins going through in fourth. Fifth is Alex Caffey. Runaway a week ago. In the 7-year-old Ferrari 333 SP, and at the moment he's in a dome sandwich because he's got Lammers ahead and Nielsen behind him. Up Kennedy's Rise they go. Jan Lammers though leading at the moment. Sam Hancock there looking for a way around the outside of Alex Caffey. Can he go through? The XF1 driver is going to defend as vigorously as he possibly can, and Sam Hancock, the 21-year-old Brit, has to sit tight behind him. It's been a miserable season so far for the Riley and Scott team, and here look already Alex Caffey is losing ground and he's holding up, there's no argument about that. Sam Hancock up front, it is still Jan Lammers leading, then the Dome trying to pull away from the Ferrari, and the gap is just steadily inching up now as the cars make their way through towards the end of lap 1. The man to watch though is Sam Hancock looking for a way past Caffey once again. In SR2, Warren Carway and Martin O'Connell tucked up, fighting for the championship as Jan Lammers now makes his way up towards Dunlop. Ireland's great motorsporting heroes, Joe. About a second. Story. John Nielsen through third. In fifth place in the Ascari has lost a couple. Choice of tyre is down to sixth place. It looks as though Ben is suffering. It's already getting too hot on this ever-drying circuit. Jan Lammers in the meantime looking quite serene up front, capitalising on a clear track. A little twitch there from the S101 as Jan applies all of the 630 brake horsepower. Warren Carway there in SR2 coming under enormous pressure from Damien Faulkner at the moment. The reigning European Formula Palmer Audi champion has taken to sports cars like a duck to water this weekend, and Damien Faulkner trying for all he's worth to get past Warren Carway. This gives you an indication though of how narrow the circuit is. You heard Martin O'Connell say before it's not going to be that easy on the track, and Damien Faulkner now proving the point. As long as Warren Carway can defend, he should be okay up there. All the way around the lap, Damien Faulkner looking for a way. Seats to sports cars this year, having racing Formula 3. Damien trying. They're also being caught by sports car stalwart Ranieri Nandaccio. Latching onto the tail of the two Irish drivers there. 3 for the lead in SR2. Fantastic battle this in Ireland's biggest ever sports car race. Warren Carway, then Damien Faulkner, and then Randaccio, familiar to British spectators for his exploits in Thundersports many years ago. And his Lucchini goes through as Ben Collins, not surprisingly, is in the pit. An unscheduled stop to get rid of the intermediate to put slick tyres on, and that really is a disaster, I'm afraid, for the Ascari team as Damien Faulkner essays now to get alongside Warren Carway, side by side. Can the Lola go through? No! Warren Carway fends him off. Warren locks up, scrambles round the corner. Fantastic! Carway hangs on to the lead in SR2, but only just. That was a big moment for him, but Warren Carway responds. Now Faulkner attacks on the inside line. Damien Faulkner goes through to take over the lead now in SR2. He comes through the Sport Island bend, dummying to the left-hand side, then to the right, and goes through into the lead of the class. A great move from Damien Faulkner. That puts him into the lead in SR2, and it puts Warren Carway under pressure now from Randaccio. He is all over the back of the pretty little Pilbeam as they accelerate their way up towards the line. Christian Pescatori is right up to the back of the Dome, even at this early stage. Top 2. Going on for third place. John Nielsen not really in touch at the moment, being a little bit more conservative perhaps, as there Alex Caffey dives at the inside of got each other going through the hairpin. The wings clash. There's damage to the Riley and Scott. The last touch there. The rear wing on the Lola is upset. Certainly the settings now will be different, but damage to the rear wing on the Riley and Scott. An unscheduled pit stop to bring that car into the pit lane. More time lost. And Alex Caffey there kicking himself. A very unusual sort of incident that, but it just shows you again how narrow the track is here. Jan Lammers now lapping the SR2 battle. That gets him ahead of Ranieri Landaccio. Warren Carway keeps out of the way, and Jan Lammers easily through on the inside there. A spin in the background, that's Pescatori losing it. Christian Pescatori spins into second place now. Goes John Nielsen. Is he going to be able to rejoin in third? John Nielsen then making his way through now up into second place. And this is hardly good news for Scuderia Italia's championship hopes. Pescatori collected all together. It's a good job for him, though, that the Riley and Scott, the Ascari and the Lola have all had problems, because relatively speaking, it has not cost him that much time. Pescatori then, red-faced and back in the race. Makes his way now up across the line. He's only lost one place despite all of that. He's third. The tyres may be a little bit second-hand after all of that spinach that was going on, but he's still third, fending off the Lola. Here's a replay. Too quickly through the corner, the back comes round. Maybe he was distracted a little bit by the traffic ahead of him, but it's very rare that Pescatori does things like that. The Ferrari spins off, he loses the place to the Danish Dome of John Nielsen, but gets back on the race in third place. Now John Nielsen really flying, there he is lapping the yellow Lucchini of Ranieri Landaccio. That means that the Roman now has no chance yet to whittle away the gap for the second place SR2 car of Warren Carway. Big John charging past Warren Carway there. You saw Warren wave him through. And Pescatori in the pits early to take on new Goodyear tyres. No fuel going in the car. Now that effectively means he's going to be doing an extra pit stop, which is bad news for Marco Zadra watching for the pit wall. Damien Faulkner really flying now, carving his way past the slower traffic. The very talented 25-year-old doing exactly what has been asked of him. He's impressing many seasoned sports car observers with his pace here this weekend, and he leads SR2 by 12 seconds, and that could prove to be critical later in the race. Pescatori fires up the Ferrari, leaves the pit lane now. Car a little bit sideways there as he feeds in the up. And again they're accelerating out of the pit lane. The back almost steps out of line. Those tyres jolly cold, they're going to need a lot of time yet to get up to temperature, of course. Damien Faulkner meets the Ferrari as it comes out of the pit lane there. And this, the battle for 6th place overall, the Ferrari in SR1. And through on the inside there is the Lola in SR2 into 6th place overall. A great move by Damien Faulkner, and there in trouble is the Works Lucchini of Mauro Prospero. He parks the car seemingly in retirement. So another car in trouble, this one in SR2 though, and Prospero looking as though he's out of the race. Now there is Christian Pescatori unlapping himself from Jan Lammers. How significant that is in terms of the relative pace of the two cars remains to be seen. Certainly now the Ferrari having caught back up again, having come out of the pit lane not that far behind the dome, it's been able now to unlap itself. Is it going to pull away? And what does that tell us about Jan Lammers' lap time? Well, he still leads ahead of John Nielsen. Sam Hancock in third place, then in the Lola in fourth place, Lillian Brenner in the Ferrari. And Jan Lammers there making his way through into the pit lane. Jan Lammers then comes into the pit road. Is this a problem? Let's hope not. He's in early by our reckoning. He did the same thing at Donington, of course. An early stop for the dome. It comes to rest. The car being refueled, and that now means that we have that dome, the Danish car of John Nielsen, in the lead of the race. Jan Lammers tries to leave. Does the car stall? Yes, it does. He manages, I think, to get it going now. Very, very slow stop there. Stalls, I think, 3 times. Eventually he gets away. Sam Hancock now up into second place. Now the Londoner is really going to have to charge, because soon he's going to have this man, Jan Lammers, right on his tail. Lammers down to third after that slow exit from the pit lane. John Nielsen now about to lap Damien Faulkner's Lola. Super John was third a couple of laps ago. Now he leads the race, comes across the line. Damien Faulkner no doubt will pull to one side, let the quicker car go by. And John Nielsen there does dive up the inside line, swinging into turn 1. Through he goes, moving ahead of the SR2 leading Lola. Now the other car to watch is the Black Dome. There it is in the hands of Jan Lammers. Turning his way through the sharp right-hander, making his way now up towards the line. His next target, of course, is to put one lap on Ranieri Landaccio. There he goes across the line. And Lammers has got to be fairly careful here in the traffic. He doesn't want to lose too much time, but equally he doesn't want to go barging past them and risk the sort of incident that we saw between the Lola and the Riley and Scott earlier on. Race leader John Nielsen charging through the traffic and building up a very healthy advantage now over Sam Hancock. Is Lammers third, Pescatori fourth, Lillian Brenner fifth, And Ben Collins going through down in 8th place. Behind him there is Sam Hancock, who of course has a lap on the Ascari. And the Coca-Cola backed car swinging its way through behind the Donington winning Ascari. John Nielsen has got a very good advantage now over Sam Hancock. And Hancock coming in for his first stop. Sam Hancock down the pit lane now. In comes the Kramer Lola. You can see the damage there on the right-hand side of the rear wing after the clash with Alex Caffey earlier on. The car is being refueled. Sam Hancock staying on board the car. Jan Lammers will take over 2nd place. And the gap we'll see in a moment. It is just over 20 seconds as they come by. So 20 seconds is the deficit Jan Lammers has got to make up. But don't forget, of course, new tyres also going on the Kramer Lola. Unlike the Racing for Holland team, of course, they've opted to take on fresh Goodyear tyres. That will cost them a little bit more time in the pits. John Nielsen rounds the last corner up. He's going to put a lap on Sam Hancock as well here. Sam rumbles his way out of the pit lane. That pit stop. And his old adversary, Alex Caffey, is on the road nearby as well. The Riley and down towards turn 1. The Riley and Scott swinging its way through safely this time. They haven't, I don't think, done anything to the rear wing of that car. Into the pit lane now, though, comes the Rowan Racing Pilbeam. Also an early stop. Warren Carway about to hop out of the car. Martin O'Connell will get on board. Jan Lammers. The former Shadow F1 racer has just set, by the way, the best lap of the race. A 1:33.349 as John Nielsen then down. And he's about to lose the lead to this home. A black Racing for Holland car of Jan Lammers will come through to take over the advantage, or will he? Because John Nielsen's about to rejoin. Jan Lammers making. It's going to be very close indeed, all of this. John Nielsen slowly makes his way down the pit lane. For the lead. The race now. A Dome 1-2 here at Mondello Park, as into the pit lane now comes Damien Faulkner. The pit lane very busy indeed. The Irish driver will hop out and Larry Alberto will get in. A terrific job has just been done by the sports car new boy. The rookie of the year in Indy Lights and now leading the race here at Mondello. Seconds behind though. Making its way out of the pit lane, Larry. The advantage before Ted Bjork gets in the car later in the race. Jan Lammers, though, steadily increasing the advantage, and that early pit stop seems to have served Jan of the season so far. It won at Brno as well, but in the pit lane, let's have a chance to talk to Damien Faulkner.
First in sports cars, you did an excellent job, got a good buffer on the Pilbeam there.
I'm not sure what the margin was at the end, but clearly at the beginning he was definitely holding me up. That's why it produces a lot of good. I found a way past. I'm able to pull away comfortably. So at the end of the day, that's what I'm here to do. My best for the team, and just keep it clean and make no mistakes.
Brakes hard and very deep there, in fact, into turn 7. Jan at the moment the quickest man on the track. Very comfortable advantage now over John Nielsen in second place. 17 seconds it now is, and right up with Nielsen is Christian Pescatore, the Italian, also flying here in the Ferrari, right on the tail of the Denver Vis Dome as he looks for a way by. Now John Nielsen, of course, a wily campaigner. He's not going to make life easy for Pescatore and to get by. Collided with one of the SR2 cars. It's the Lucchini there. Ranieri Randaccio has got caught up with the race leader, and Jan Lammers is off the circuit. Disaster for the race leader. He's going to have to try and find reverse gear. He doesn't want to go forward because he'll get into the gravel if he's not careful. He does go forward. He's just able to act as a snowplow there. Scoop the gravel out of the way. Randaccio has another spin on the grass. Jan Lammers sets off, throwing gravel all over the circuit. The Ascari about to unlap itself there. Ben Collins goes through, and Jan Lammers will be absolutely seething about that. Nielsen and Pescatori absolutely come through the black Racing for Holland dome down in third place. So another race of changing fortunes, isn't it? John Nielsen, Christian Pescatori, and Pesca having spun earlier in the race. Now Nielsen, Dome versus Ferrari, and Jan Lammers some way back. He's going to be absolutely furious. There he is. The red mist may well descend now, and if you thought Lammers was going quickly before, then just watch him fly now. Win at Donington, it's happened again here, and Jan Lammers is not going to be a Tory though, pleasing Marco Zadra because he's got himself back into contention in the race and in the championship, and the Ascari still struggling as well. The two race leaders absolutely nose to tail. The much younger Dome fending off the Ferrari. We've said so many times it's a 7-year-old car, but it's worth making the point again because it is still a very rapid machine indeed. John Nielsen locks up and runs wide all over the curb onto the gravel there. Pescatori leads. John Nielsen makes a mistake in exactly the same place as Pescatori did earlier on. That battle has already delayed the two drivers, and now it's cost John Nielsen a place. Christian Pescatori leads. Fantastic race here at Mondello Park. Pescatori and Nielsen raging on ahead of him. Let's see what the gap is going to be now as he makes his way up across the line. 14 seconds now it is between second and third. Ben Collins ahead of him on the road. Ben, of course, trying to fight back after that early unscheduled pit stop after the Ascari team started on the wrong type of tyre. The race leader then, Christian Pescatori, now is going to be looking to try and establish the advantage before he makes that second pit stop, and he comes in now. Into the pit lane comes Christian Pescatori. Now, is he going to stay on board, or will they put Marco Zadra in? Pescatori is quicker than Zadra. It would make sense to keep Christian behind the wheel, and therefore he can try and build up even more of an advantage for Zadra to preserve later in the race. Zadra has got better as a driver, but he's not yet a Pescatori. So, John Nielsen back into the lead as the red and white dome comes across the line. The BMS Scuderia Italia team now busily working away on the pit stop. Up into second place once again comes Jan Lammers, and he too is still charging. Now, where is Pescatori? There he is. Bit of gravel being swept out of the front of the car, bit of grass being swept out too, and Pescatori back into the race. This time he's a little bit more committed, I reckon, coming out of the pit lane, and therefore he's up to speed for the hairpin earlier, but he's still in third place ahead of Sam Hancock's Lola. So John Nielsen is the man now who's going to have to charge. He too will come into the pit lane soon. He does, though, have one pit stop's advantage on the Ferrari. Remember, of course, Pescatori had that unscheduled stop earlier on in the race. The Racing for Holland dome, though, is catching up hand over fist here. Jan Lammers is just 4 seconds behind, and he is catching. Out of the hairpin, Lammers sliding the car through the corner. The two former Denmark. Evenly matched indeed in the Jaguar days, proving so again. Now they're driving different domes. There is Christian Pescatori, a further 25 seconds behind. He's about to lap the Rowan Racing Pilbeam in second in SR2. Martin O'Connell there, the driver, and he in turn is 20 seconds behind Larry Alberto's Lola, and Martin theoretically should be a little bit quicker than the American. Jan Lammers right now with John Nielsen, the two of them absolutely tied together as they come through. They're about to lap a car which was winning races last year, the Riley and Scott. The car that Mauro Baldi and Alex Caffey share, and Jan Lammers dives up the inside for the lead, and through he goes. Great move there. Jan Lammers goes through on the inside to find a way past John Nielsen. Fantastic bit of driving. Jan Lammers head down, charging away once again. After the problems he had when he got caught up with Randaccio's Lucchini, he's caught back up, he's caught and passed the race leader, and Jan Lammers leads once again. There is Ben Collins still fighting back after the decision to put intermediates on the car. The Ascari in 5th place, but there Pescatori goes charging up the inside. The Ferrari then moves ahead of the Ascari on the road, and Pescatori also being very rapid indeed here. John Nielsen into the pit lane. Hiroki Kato ready to take over. The man who qualified that car on pole position at Manicourt, about to take over from his much bigger teammate John Nielsen. So Pescatori now goes second, and Sam Hancock third and closing in the Lola. The Deborah there being lapped, Mark Rostan's car. Hiroki Kato being strapped in. And now the Japanese driver is about to discover what Mondello Park is like during the course of a race. Very tentatively there, he makes his way down the pit lane. Last year, of course, he was a Works Paynos driver in the States and, of course, at Le Mans, and now driving for Dome. Cato back onto the circuit. Christian Pescatori now looking to trade times with the Jan Lammers Dome. He negotiates the final corner, accelerates up across the line, a brief look across at the pit board, and that's Sam Hancock coming in to hand over to one of the star drivers in the championship, Jean-Marc Gounon. The Kramer was up to third behind the Jan Lammers Dome. The ex-Grand Prix racer now takes over the car. Now there's Hiroki Kato. He's immediately into the groove and is lapping on the leader's pace. Jean-Marc Gounon down the pit lane. Certainly can see the damage to the end plate there on the right-hand side of the rear wing. And the spectacular Frenchman is always worth watching in the 6-litre Kramer monster. 37 years of age now, wealth of experience, Formula One experience, and of course an ex-Works Mercedes and BMW driver. Jean-Marc Gounon could well now prove to be the revelation of the second part of the race here. Safety car on track. There it is, the safety car is on the circuit. Now quite why, I'm not sure. Let's try and work out why. Mario Prospero's Lucchini, we know, has been stranded by the side of the road for a long, long time. The safety car making its way through. It's yet to pick up the leader. Got one of the SR2 cars, and that is Enzo Calderari's Ferrari that's gone off. Calderari in the gravel, the safety car on track, and Sam Smith is with Sam Hancock.
I have to say, the guys gave me a bloody brilliant car, and we started off, I had a great first couple of laps. I thought, you know, I'm going to try and keep on the road, and then I had an opportunity to pass both the Ascari and the Riley and Scott, I think. Was it Riley? Well, anyway, two cars at once into the final corner, which I thought was quite nice. And then just got my head down and had a bit of a surprise in the first stop, as you may have seen by my body language, where we had a tyre change that I wasn't anticipating. It was actually plan B. I thought we were doing plan A, but I hope that it's not going to harm us at the moment. At certain points, us than anybody else, so I was quite chuffed with that.
And during that interview, we saw the Racing for Holland Dome coming into the pit lane for its driver change. Val Hillebrand has taken the car now. Gounon and then Val Hillebrand. Enzo Calderari pulled out of the gravel, taking advantage of the safety car. Another pit stop for him in the pill beam. The snatch vehicle there careers across the grass out of. Will come into the pit lane. The race leader is about to floor the throttle. Any chance they're building up a cushion has evaporated, of course, now. The safety car has served to bunch everybody out behind. Green flag wave once again. Pescatori leading as they come across the line. The car to watch, though, is the Kramer Lola of Jean-Marc Gounon, which is there, turning its way around the outside of the Swedish Lola. That car just coming out of the pit lane, and of course Val Hillebrand is right up with Gounon now, so a tremendous top three battle going on. There is the race leader, number one at the moment, Christian Pescatori. In second place now is Jean-Marc Gounon, and coming through in third is Val Hillebrand in the Black Dome. That's the top three. Now Martin O'Connell's Pillbeam has made all of its pit stops. It's just 3 seconds behind the SR2 leading Lola of Ted Bjork. This is going to be a great battle. The Ascari trying to split the SR2 brigade as well. This is all action here at Mondello Park. There's the fight for second. Gounon just ahead of Val Hillebrand, and Jean-Marc knows how to defend. Experience versus youth in this battle. Jean-Marc Gounon, a sports car racer for the last 7 years, and Val Hillebrand switching from Formula 3 to sports cars this year. They are both catching the Ferrari as well. This battle for second place, spurring them on, and Pescatori now is being caught by the Lola and the Dome. Down the hill they go now, locking up there Jean-Marc Gounon. And Val Hillebrand looking for a way by. The quicker Dome caught behind the 6-litre Kramer run Lola Roush at the moment. Making their way once more up towards the line, and Val Hillebrand determined to carry on the good work started early in the race by Jan Lammers. There, number 2, Angelo Zadra, now in the number 2 Ferrari. A lot of work to do to make amends for Enzo Calderari's spin, the former Jaguar European Touring Car Championship racer, having cost that car a lot of time. The leader goes through, then the lap Mario Baldi, and then this tremendous battle for second place between Jean-Marc Gounon and Val Hillebrand. Val has been quick all year. Occasionally he's been a little bit wild, but there's no doubting the 20-year-old has been very aggressive indeed. Looking for a way once more past Jean-Marc Gounon. Now you can see the difficulties in overtaking. It's a narrow circuit, and Jean-Marc Gounon making the Lola wide enough there, and a problem for Hillebrand as he spins, puts a wheel on the grass, and off he goes into the gravel. The wheels spin, and all that he's going to do is dig Val Hillebrand into the gravel. We said he was occasionally wild, and there is the proof. Trying too hard. Give me a push, he says to the marshals. The yellow flags are being waved. Here's the replay. He runs a little bit wide into the corner, a wheel on the dirt as he brakes, and that is enough to send the car sideways. He tries to hang on to it. It was a big slide, but eventually the back of the car overtakes the front, and Val Hillebrand spins off into the gravel bed. Now is not a good time to go and talk to Jan Lammers, I would suggest. Into the gravel spins Val Hillebrand, and Jean-Marc Gounod has done exactly the right thing. He has been defensive, and Val Hillebrand has made a mistake whilst being a little bit too keen to get by. Now the safety car is out on track once again whilst the dome is recovered from the gravel bed, and that's terrific news. Tail of the Ferrari. If the Scuderia Italia crew are thinking about this, they'll bring the car in, and somebody else in trouble. This has had a fairly checkered day as well. The number 72 Lucchini now being driven by Leonardo Maddalena. The Italian, it would appear, has conspired to go off whilst the safety car is out, and that takes some doing. He's pushed out of the way by the marshals, and now he's trying to do a three-point turn as the SR1 cars come by. I think it's now time for the clerk of the course to look the other way, isn't it? The safety car comes through. When the lights go off, that will be the indication it's coming into the pit lane, but in already is number 1. So yes, the team does have its wits about it. Make the pit stop now whilst the cars are together. Cato has been in, and let's also hear from Ben Collins.
We took an intermediate tyre, which was a bit of a sort of calculated risk at the beginning of the race, and turned out to be wrong. I had no grip at all compared to a normal slick tyre, so I had to come in for an early stop and then push on. But it's the hardest race I've ever done because of we had to concentrate on driving off the pace to preserve the drive shafts, make sure we finished the race on a bumpy track with the low speed corners that was giving us a lot of wheel spin in qualifying. So hopefully that will pay off when we get the points that we need this race.
And there's Val Hillebrand back on track, and that is Marco Zadra now joining in for the pit lane, having taken over the car from Christian Pescatore. The safety car then slows the field right down. It is ready to peel off. Jean-Marc Gounod now leads the race. Hiroki Kato is second. He's about 5 cars further back in the queue. And also somewhere in that lot is Martin O'Connell and the recovering Val Hillebrand, who is 2 laps down and looking very keen indeed to make his way back up the order if he can. Werner Lutberger is now in 3rd place. He's on a different lap, of course, from the top 2, but the green flag is waved and the car's set off now. Jean-Marc Gounod then the race leader, and he's got to try and fly away now from Hiroki Kato. Martin O'Connell charging across the line as well. Kato has got O'Connell tucked up behind him. O'Connell in SR2, and the cars accelerate their way now through the mid part of the circuit once again. The Deborah goes through there at the back of the field, and Jean-Marc Gounod trying now to charge away from the rest of them. Number 76 going through, the Lola in SR2, the Swedish team car. Ted Bjork behind the wheel, although he has still to make another pit stop. Martin O'Connell, second in the class and on the same lap, doesn't have to pit again. So in real terms, O'Connell now is set to inherit the lead of the class, and there he is in the background, chasing Val Hillebrand in the black dome. It's going very well indeed, all of this at the moment for Jean-Marc Gounod and of course for Lola. The circuit and Lola, both owned by Martin Bahrain. It would be a great result for him if that car could win. And of course, if the Stanley Dickens yellow Lola can win SR2, that will make Bahrain's day complete, won't it? Further back in second place, there you can see the Den Bleu Avis Team Go dome of Hiroki Kato trying to battle its way past one of the slower Ferraris there. That looks like number 2. And Gounod goes off! Jean-Marc Gounod straight across the gravel into the bank! Wow! Jean-Marc Gounod at great speed thunders off the circuit. And that was a big impact. He managed to go through the gravel, miss all the tyres, and straight into an earth bank, and Gounod is going no further. It seems that he locked up. Whether a tyre went down, I'm not sure. The Frenchman is okay, and now we have Hiroki Kato, the new race leader. There is Jean-Marc Gounod out of the car, shakes his head. Now look at this again. Does a tyre let go? No, he just locks up by the look of it. Skates off the circuit at very high speed, straight across the gravel, and bang, straight into the bank there. After all the good work by Jean-Marc and by Sam Hancock, the car out of the race. And there is Lola's Nick Jordan, who's walked to the scene. Jean-Marc Gounod saying, I'm okay, but he's absolutely fed up with all of that. A very disappointed Jean-Marc Gounod then trudges away. Sam Hancock's going to be none too pleased as well. It was a great effort by both of them. It's come to naught. Jean-Marc walks in to explain what happened to Erwin Kramer, the team boss. Now there is the Ascari of Werner Lutberger. The brake discs lighting up. This race started at 5:30. We've only got half an hour left, and thus is going to see some very spectacular racing indeed. So Cato leads ahead of Marco Zadra and Werner Lutberger, but let's try and catch up now with Jean-Marc Gounon in the pits.
It's a really shame because we had done a good job with Sam all the weekend, and I took the lead, and in the infield of the track, after the restart, the last restart, the throttle stayed full open and I couldn't stop the car, and I finished gravels and whoa, it's a shame, really a shame.
Val Hillebrand now lapping as quick as anybody else out there. He's fourth, but it could well become third in a moment. The Ascari is back in the pit lane. Werner Lutberger with a problem. There it is. The car about to be pushed out of the garage and back into the race, but it will cost it at least one place. It will put the Dome third, and it will cost the Ascari team now any chance at all in the championship. Over the line go the leaders, and Christian Pescatori now in the pit lane, watching Marco Zadra taking that car through to what could well be a very easy second place.
Yeah, it's crazy race. After 20 laps, I have a little problem with SR2. I overtaking, but the yellow cars don't see my car, and I have a little contact. I'm stopping the box for 40 seconds for see the car, and then after, so I have a good race. The car is very fast with 4 tires, so now he's in second position. Marco is very fast.
There is Marco Zadra, the headlights ablaze. He looks at the pit board as he goes by, takes in the information, maintaining the pace now for what should be an easy second place. The natural light fading, the headlights now becoming ever more important. Very spectacular cars at the best of times, but the first, if you like, night race we've had for the FIA Sportscar Championship proving to be very dramatic indeed. Now there is Martin O'Connell, the Midlander now is really charging on, and he's got to do so in order to try and close up onto the back of Ted Bjork's Lola. He's 10 points adrift in the championship, and if he manages to win here with the Lola second, that will halve the gap to just 5 points between the two. But at the moment, that car only second, and that's not good enough. Now Werner Lutberger is back on the track, but going very slowly indeed. The word from the pit lane is the car has got very few gears left, and Sam Smith is with Jan Lammers.
Yeah, and a pretty eventful race out there. You had some contact with an SR2 car. Just talk us through that one.
Well, I was behind him, and I actually thought that he was going to let me by on the outside, but I was already committed with the braking, and then he sort of moved over. So it was just a racing accident, and if anything, it was my fault because I could have judged the situation better than he did.
Now there is Lutberger back in the pit lane. The information we have is that he's got barely any gears left at all now in the Ascari. It would make sense for them to position that car in the pit lane near the line, and then when the checkered flag is waved, he can just trickle over the line and take a few points. Cato, you saw, stroking it home. Val Hillebrand making a last gasp stop with only 4 minutes to go. And this is a very important stop indeed. Ted Bjork comes in with only one more lap to do. Effectively, it's a stop and go, because that's the third and final stop that the teams have to make under the regulations. No fuel, and Ted Bjork now blasts back out again. Now where is Martin O'Connell? He very nearly collected the parked Ascari there. A very dramatic race we've had here at Mondello Park. Now, can the Lola get back out ahead of the Pilgrim? Yes, it can. The Lola team absolutely delighted. They've done a great job there. You can see them celebrating as Martin O'Connell goes by 12 seconds behind. SR2 being settled on the last lap of the race. And although Martin is a charger, not even he can make up 12 seconds around here. Here comes Cato then to round the reins for the final time. He's on target for the win, but we'll see the team now move into second place in the championship standings in SR1. Through paddock, through Dunlop, Hiroki Kato of Japan is about to give Den Blauvis its second win of 2001 after a quite incredible 7th round of the FIA Sportscar Championship on its first visit to Ireland. Kato and John Nielsen win SR1 behind winning SR2, Ted Bjork and Larry Alberto, along with Damien Faulkner. And here coming through for second place overall, Marco Zadra, along with Christian Pescatori. BMS Scuderia Italia will finish in second place, another 15 points in the championship. That means the lead is 26 now over that man, John Nielsen and Hiroki Kato. There's Hiroki Kato then, jigging in delight and confirmation of the results. Kato and Nielsen ahead of Pescatori and Marco Zadra. Hillebrand and Lammers third ahead of Cathy and Baldi, a rather subdued fourth. Ferrari and Scott, though, being able to recover after the earlier clash and the enforced pit stop with damage to the rear wing. Finishing fifth, the second of the Scuderia Italia Ferraris of Calderari, Zadra and Lilian Brenner. And the Ascari making it home in 6th place after a disappointing race of Werner Lutberger and Ben Collins, with Jean-Marc Gounod and Sam Hancock failing to finish. But let's hear now from John Nielsen.
Congratulations, John. A kiss off wife Sam and baby Max. Excellent stuff. Second week. And I guess that was just keeping.
Well, we said it will rain, so we put wet settings, and that made a slow car under dry or slowish. So we were hoping for wet, but it didn't happen. But then the strategy was perfect. So yes, it's home.
And a very happy Hiroki Kato is celebrating as well. He's second in the championship. But let's hear from the championship leader, Marco Zadra.
Marco Zadra, Scuderia.
Yes, it's very good. I think now we have 24 points, the lead, and I think it's quite safe for us. But we will see the next race in Nürburgring. We will do a very exciting race here because there are a lot of change in the leadership. It was very cardio.
John Nielsen then onto the podium with the now familiar Viking horns. Hiroki Kato will join him on the top step of the podium, the diminutive Japanese driver. And a very dramatic race we've had here in Ireland. Nielsen and Kato then, the winners for the Danish Team Den Blue Go outfit. The Dome victorious, finishing second Ferrari of Marco Zadra and Christian Pescatori. And rather stony-faced, Jan Lammers and Val Hillebrand third, thinking about what could have been. Zadra then leading the championship now from Kato and Nielsen. Down to fourth go Collins and Lutberger, and down to sixth go Hillebrand and Jan Lammers. A very dramatic race indeed, and all of that, of course, helps Ferrari and BMS Scuderia Italia in the championship. The same advantage then over Den Bleuvis Team Go, with Ascari third ahead of Racing for Holland. The Riley and Scott team now fifth and GLV Brum sixth, but there was plenty of drama too in SR2.
What a dramatic end to that race. You thought you weren't sure if you had enough time in the bag there, but you just did it.
Yeah, we just stepped on it as much as we could. It was unbelievable. The team just the fast stop in the end. I didn't know what the team strategy was. I just kept my foot down the whole time and tried no mistakes, and we made it. It was great.
It's pretty close coming out of the pits there with the Ascari.
Yeah, it was pretty close. I lifted off and then got back on again, but it was close.
For the championship, of course, now it's 15 points. 2 races to go. It's looking good, isn't it?
Yeah, this feels wonderful. We needed this. This is great.
A great result then for Ted Bjork, Larry Alberto and Emil Faulkner, the 3 drivers in the winning car, coming home with a further 5 points advantage in the championship now over Warren Carway and Martin O'Connell. Third, the Lucchini engineering car of Sebastian Uja and Pier Giuseppe Peroni, whilst Mark Rostan is fourth in the Deborah, partnered by the venerable Irish driver Arnie Black. So a great result here this weekend for SRTS. We've heard from Ted Bjork, and now down in the pit lane, Sam Smith has caught up with Larry Alberto.
Larry, what a dramatic finish to that race.
You gotta love it. These guys have been chasing us the last 2 races, making us work really hard. This tastes so good. I can't wait to have the champagne.
He is but moments away from it. The 3 drivers on the top step of the podium, Bjork, Alberto and Emil Faulkner. A great drive by the pair of them then too on the last lap decide the result of SR2 here at Mondello Park. A fantastic race in both classes, and this is how the championship now looks. A 15-point advantage between Bjork and Alberto over Carway and O'Connell, with Peroni 5th ahead of Monti, Nobili, Saccomano and Tonetti, with a further 2 rounds of the championship still to go. SRTS now getting closer to winning the team's award from Rowan Racing. Lucchini Engineering currently 3rd, ahead of Odissio and Benvenuto, and BM Autosport Racing 4th equal. 2 more rounds to go. Next stop, the Nürburgring.